Yes, we can. Where's Linda been?
Um, I have to have a chat to her, actually. I'm not sure.
Hmm,
I think
okay.
the timing isn't really working for her. I think it used to be like a lunch break, but now not so much.
Yeah.
I need to make it a bit smaller. Not that small. Sorry, excuse me while I play with the sizing. Here we go. So we started Lessons in Love. We did number one. Should we do it again or should we just continue?
I kind of think we might want to do it again.
Yeah, because it's
Hmm.
just the brand new start. So
Just because it's a new chapter.
yeah,
Who wants to?
yeah.
Joey's not going to be able to participate, so it's going to be
No,
us three, A, V, and me.
Yeah,
You want me to start? I'm happy to. Or Carolee, you want to start?
I'd like you to, thanks.
Okay, here we go. The relationship of anger to attack is obvious, but the relationship of anger to fear is not always so apparent. Anger always involves projection of separation, which must ultimately be accepted as one's own responsibility. Rather than being blamed on others, anger cannot occur unless you believe that you have been attacked, that your attack is justified in return, and that you are in no way responsible for it. Given these three wholly irrational premises, the equally irrational conclusion that a brother is worthy of attack rather than of love must follow. What can be expected from insane premises except an insane conclusion? The way to undo an insane conclusion is to consider the sanity of the premises on which it rests. You cannot be attacked. Attack has no justification, and you are responsible for what you believe.
oh boy. Glad we read that again.
Mm. So that it makes sense, but it's sort of hard to live in this insane world in that way.
It is, and I think, in my mind, anyways, um, V, can you shrink that just a little bit because it's really wide, at least on
Yes,
my end of it.
yes, sure.
Thanks.
Is that better?
That's better. Yeah, definitely. Let me see if I can talk to this. I think that it's true that whenever we feel angry and justified, and I mean, you have to define what it was an attack. An attack can be, ill words spoken about another. An attack can be judgment cast on another. In order for that to happen, you have to believe that you've been harmed or wounded by that person and that your anger, judgment, projection is justified. Like Robert and I just had this conversation. We had a couple friends who we really thought were quite close. One specifically we were very close to. And we find out later that everything we shared with this guy got spread throughout the whole community. Whatever we said, and that there was people talking ill about us that we didn't even know. We don't even know who they are. But one of their good friends approached us. So we were walking out to the car, and he came out and he said, "You guys should hear what they say about you. It's not good." And we was like, what do they possibly have to say bad about us? And then we finally kind of put two and two together. And I thought, because a psychic had told me there's someone around you that's really jealous of you, like really jealous. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. There's no one around us that's super jealous, but they are. And so we make little comments throughout the day when we got time together. I said, well, da 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 about Doug and John. And Robert goes, yeah, it's messy. And we'll do little clips like that. And then today I said, I do not want again to mention their names or to think ill about them at all. For all we know, everything we think and feel is a projection because we feel attacked by them. And I do not want to have even an attack in thought, much less in words. I don't want them to take the oxygen out of my focus and cast it towards them because I don't actually really know what was said, if anything was said, but I'm sure it was. So I just thought, even if it was said, it doesn't matter. What does it wound me? So for this, in my mind, this is how I'm interpreting it. There's no rationale for me attacking back because I lose my peace when I do it. And if I'm about keeping my peace and protecting my peace, then it's insane for me to like put a chasm between me and another person or me and my peace. If I value my peace more than I value quote unquote being right or justified in some way. It doesn't bring anything but more amplification of the negative feelings. And that is, of course, the complete opposite of the atonement, like the complete opposite. So if we're going to live this stuff, I think it's important to catch ourselves in those moments of temptation because we were really hurt by that appearance of that action. Like we were really hurt by it, and we just thought, wow, it's like we had nothing but good intentions, and all this stuff is spreading to all these people we don't know, and we're like, huh. And yeah, so I'm on the other side of it now, and it's a choice moment by moment, as we know, Carly, to stay on that other side because at any moment I could just fall back into it. But if I keep that perspective, I won't fall into it as easily. So this was very poignant for me, especially for today.
Mm. But
And you can't control the fact that these other people have, been spreading rumors or whatever. And it's the
Can't
same
control
with
it.
the stuff that's going on, out there. When you look at the news or anything, we can't control that either. All we can control is how we're showing up and hoping that our little virus of the mind of peace and love will actually expand.
And I love the last line in this paragraph where it says, you cannot be attacked. Attack has no justification, and you are responsible for what you believe. That one line really kind of just jumped out at me because, I am responsible for what I believe, and what I believe either is going to, enhance, my peace and atonement, or it's going to sever it. And I think I'd rather have that than being right or feeling justified or being vengeful in any way. It doesn't work.
Hi, Jane. Jane's
Hey,
stuck in
Jane.
there.
Hi, everybody. I hear what you're saying, and you're right. That last line, those words of that we are responsible for what we believe. Oh gosh, how many years were we ingrained with, my God, Flip Wilson, I'm dating myself here. The devil made me do it.
Yeah.
As the comic that he was. Oh, the devil made me do it, right? But then there was school and there was home, and it was always you're making me angry. You're doing this. You're doing that, and it's like, oh boy, I've got some. For me personally, it's like I can look back and say, boy, I sure had a lot of learning to do, didn't I?
Oh, we all had that, with the whole world,
Yeah.
even our language, our English language is based upon staying in the drama triangle.
Right.
It's all based on that. Words we use 70,000 times a day. It's all based in keeping us in the problems out there. It's not me. Always.
Right, right.
So it's up to us to break it, to break that particular cycle.
It is. It is.
Who's going to go next? I'm voting for Crowley.
Go, Carly.
She's got my vote.
Hey, gang, this is the old crew back together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go for it, Carly.
You have been asked to take me as your model for learning, since an extreme example is a particularly helpful learning device. Everyone teaches and teaches all the time. This is a responsibility you inevitably assume the moment you accept any premise at all. And no one can organize his life without some thought system. Once you have developed a thought system of any kind, you live by it and teach it. Your capacity for allegiance to a thought system may be misplaced, but it is still a form of faith and can be redirected.
What do you guys think?
I'm reading that everyone teaches and teaches all the time, and I'm thinking you were teaching people all the time how we want to be treated by how we're showing up.
So true.
I think we do that through the boundaries we set and what we will and we won't. I don't mean by tolerate, but what we will and won't want to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also looking at thought system and thinking monkey mind and the thousands and thousands of things we think every day. And a lot of it's the same, and that's what we've chosen. That's our system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we can change it. We can change it.
Yeah.
And to say that it's a form of faith, it's like, wow, yeah, it really is, because it's our belief system. And what do we know about faith and beliefs? Well, we cling to them,
Yeah.
right or wrong. But the good news is it can be redirected.
Yes.
And that's what's important.
I actually was thinking before in the previous paragraph as well that to actually ask, if I feel attacked, am I actually being attacked? Is it true? And it's the same thing we can ask here. Every time we have a thought that's not really empowering us, is it true?
That's a really powerful first question. Of course, that's, like Byron Katie's work.
Byron Katie, yeah.
Is it true? How can I really know it's true? And then the rest of them. But I think that that's a really, really powerful reframe on everything. When you really do feel attacked and you're really looking at it from a perspective of being attacked, I'm not 100% that it's always true. I mean, people do things and for what reason, who can say, but I don't know if it's an attack on the person or it's a need of the other person to either feel above, lateral, or better than in some way. But all of it is at such a low vibratory level. Like, why would you care? Why would you want to even respond to it? Because it just it doesn't matter.
And isn't all of it that we're talking about a true cry for help? It's the person may not even want the help, but their innards their inner spirit is hurting and they're
Mm.
wounded. And what do wounded animals on this earth do? We're of the human species of animals. And we're no different from that bear that's caught in a trap with its leg or foot. When we're hurt, look out, right?
Hmm.
Mm.
It's a survival thing.
Mm-hmm.
This next section is so heavy and cool. The message of the crucifixion. I've
You've
been
been
waiting
waiting
to.
for this one, haven't you?
I know. I was just going to say, I remember a year ago.
Oh,
So
wait till we
here
get to the
we are.
crucifixion and the resurrection.
That's right. Right after it happened. Here we are.
I
Good
have
Friday.
this big vision. Of course, I will never do this, but I have this big vision of me standing up in one of these big old community churches here where like there's thousands of people and standing up in the middle of it, grabbing the mic and going, everything he just said is heresy. Now let me read you the truth about the crucifixion. They would
happens then?
hog tie me.
What happens then, Gary?
Then they wrestle me to the ground, put a sock in my mouth, and drag me out. But I've always wanted to do that, or stand up. This is really extreme. Or stand in one of these big churches, point to the pastor, and go, "Get behind me, Satan!" Oh, I have these dreams.
Gary, I think you missed your acting career.
No, I'm telling you. I once did a Sunday service. What was it? It was like Christmas Eve or Easter or something for this huge Unity Church in Dallas. And after I got done, Robert's in the audience, and he comes up to me and goes, "You have to shift careers. You need to be a minister because you
Yeah.
would make billions of dollars. We would never have another money problem the rest of our lives." And I'm like, "Oh, no." No. But I think I'd be good at it.
I think
Sure.
so. Put your hand on the Bible.
Mm-mm. No, I'd hold up the Course in Miracles and I go, "Put this in its place." Then I would be hogtied and burned at the stake, no doubt.
Mhm.
I'm being very sacrilegious, I know.
It's okay. You're amongst friends.
Oh, good. Just so you
Jane,
know,
you
my darkest thought.
it's
Jane,
all
you
Well,
gonna
if that's your
recorded, by the
if that's
way.
your darkest thought, then you're a person that it's safe to be around.
Yeah, that's true.
Jane, do you
Go
want to
for it, Jane.
start?
Sure.
Yeah.
Message of the crucifixion. For learning purposes, let us consider the crucifixion again. I did not dwell on it before because of the fearful connotations you may associate with it. The only emphasis laid upon it so far has been that it was not a form of punishment. Nothing, however, can be explained in negative terms only. There is a positive interpretation of the crucifixion that is wholly devoid of fear and therefore wholly benign in what it teaches if it is properly understood. Wow.
B?
I think that's a good introduction. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll read that one. The crucifixion is nothing more than an extreme example. Its value, like the value of any teaching device, lies solely in the kind of learning it facilitates. It can be and has been misunderstood. This is only because the fearful are apt to perceive fearfully. I have already told you that you can always call on me to share my decision and thus make it stronger. I have also told you that the crucifixion was the last useless journey the sonship need take, and that it represents release from fear to anyone who understands it. While I emphasized only the resurrection before, the purpose of the crucifixion and how it actually led to the resurrection was not clarified then. Nevertheless, it has a definite contribution to make to your own life. And if you will consider it without fear, it will help you understand your own role as a teacher.
So I'll go next.
Okay.
You've probably reacted for years as if you were being crucified. There is a marked tendency of the separated who always refuse to consider what they have done to themselves. Projection means anger. Anger fosters assault, and assault promotes fear. The real meaning of the crucifixion lies in the apparent intensity of the assault of some of the sons of God upon another. This, of course, is impossible and must be fully understood as impossible. Otherwise, I cannot serve as a model for learning.
Hmm. Let's move that up. Where are we? I get dizzy doing this. Sorry.
My number 4.
Yes. Shall we keep going or?
Yep. Carly, you want to take that?
Yeah, okay. We're up to assault.
Yep.
Yes, number 4. Yeah.
Assault can ultimately be made only on the body. There is little doubt that one body can assault another and can even destroy it. Yet, if destruction itself is impossible, anything that is destructible cannot be real. Its destruction, therefore, does not justify anger. To the extent to which you believe that it does, you are accepting false premises and teaching them to others. The message the crucifixion was intended to teach was that it is not necessary to perceive any form of assault in persecution, because you cannot be persecuted. If you respond with anger, you must be equating yourself with the destructible and are therefore regarding yourself insanely. Back to this insane world.
Hmm.
Mm.
I love this. The one thing it says here, which I think is really an important line, is that the message the crucifixion was intended to teach, not that it taught, but was intended to teach, was that it's not necessary to perceive any form of assault in persecution because you cannot be persecuted.
Feels like you can.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I often wonder, I don't know about you guys, but I have this strong, innate intolerance of injustice, as I perceive it, of course. And it's always really interesting to me, like if people are treated really uncivilly or with prejudice, or someone's hurting an animal or something like that. I find it just next to impossible to not step in and do something, or say something or whatever, because I perceive persecution. I'm trying in my head to figure out that if I respond with anger, last line, if you respond with anger, you must be equating yourself with the destructible and are therefore regarding yourself insanely. So I keep thinking, well, if someone was really, like speaking ill towards a Mexican waiter here in, the South, and demeaning them because of their race and their the country they come from and the language that they speak, I would find it really difficult not to say anything. In fact, I have stepped in and said things before. I'm just thinking, well, then I would therefore be regarding myself insanely because I'm equating myself with the destructible, meaning I'm identifying as my body. I'm seeing them, harass a person and seeing all the appearance of injustice that I would perceive and therefore persecution. I'm just wondering how I would do that, whether I could chunk up to looking at it through the eyes of this person's really wounded and fast asleep, or if I would, react in a way that would be my normal way, was like WTF, like, what do you think you're doing? I would be upset, and step in for the weaker person. I don't know what I'm trying to say other than this would find me conflicted. Does anyone
Well,
else
I
have
have
that
a
problem?
question. I have a question for all of us, and it's this. What if you had a choice of how you intervened on an injustice?
Well,
Either
we do.
one, right. Well, okay, but I guess here's my question. You could intervene and not say anything, but just take the person who's being maligned and say, you're really a beautiful soul, and this person has no idea what they're saying, and I hope you take no offense. And or is it, my point is it more important to put the perpetrator in their place, so to speak? Or is it is it an action of love that we want to give to that person who is being persecuted? What do we want?
I
In
think
my
that is an amazing point. Joe, did you
in
say
my
something?
experience,
Yes,
sorry, go ahead,
please.
Gary.
No,
Sorry.
no, you.
I was gonna say, in my experience, in a situation like Gary was describing, do the best to keep your emotions in check, not get angry, but just say something that would disrupt the anger from the guy being the a-hole to the Mexican waiter or whatever. So you're not really interacting with your own personal beliefs of this is bullcrap, you're an a-hole, blah, blah, blah. But hey, waiter, can I get a cup or can I get a new spoon or something, to where you break that conversation, you break that train of thought, you break that cycle of that person unloading onto that waiter. And as long as you're breaking that thought process, you potentially can stop the situation from escalating without putting your own emotion into it.
I think that's great advice as well. What I like that Jane said was that you sort of bypass, it's almost like you don't even acknowledge the perpetrator, and that you just acknowledge and support the person who is being treated uncivilly, and
Right.
reinforce, like you said, Jane, the magnificence they actually are, and reinforce
Right.
that just bypasses everything. For
Right.
me, that's so weird to me because, just all acknowledgments here, Jane. I didn't even think of that. I was like, why did I think of that?
Well, 5 heads are better than one.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I did not even think of that. Like, why couldn't I just buy? I mean, it didn't even enter my mind that I would let someone be really cruel to someone and not say anything to them, you know? But that would be the way to do it. The highest form, I think, is to do that. And I think next, probably what Joe said as well, is like, you know,
Right.
just the situation
Right.
to a passive interruption and diffuse the situation that way. But yeah, oh
I
well.
feel like there must be a way to call them out kindly. So the aggressor, you know, obviously there's something that they feel they've missed out on, um, but they may not be aware of how badly they're behaving. I don't know.
And that's
What
also
if you,
true.
right, what if you were to say, I would be more inclined to say to the person who's the perpetrator, who's doing the put downs, to just simply ask, and tell me, how have you been put down in your life? And then say nothing. How have you been mistreated in your life? And how did that feel?
Generally, they have been as well, because they learn the behavior from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yes, it's back to the, you know, what you believe and it can be changed and everything. But also, in that whole scenario, we're all believing in persecution.
Mm-hmm.
Good call,
Mhm.
Carly.
If we
Right.
don't,
Oh boy, the silent ones, the river runs deep. No, that's very true. To even see it, you're believing in the persecution.
mm, as soon as you pick a side in anything, really,
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
which is, you know, how the world runs, we pick a side on everything. I don't have a solution.
No, no, no. I don't think any of us do. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, if we're really going to chunk up to where probably the solution is, it'd be like what I'm seeing is not real.
Mm.
It would be what I'm seeing is not real. Like, no one's being persecuted, no one's being defended. How do I know if in some past life the guy being persecuted didn't do the same thing to the guy who's persecuting, and this is just a karmic loop that they're involved in, that they're paying back to each other? How do I know? I don't.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a whole other thing about, you know, if it's according to, you know, in Byron Katie's philosophy, if it's happening, it's perfect. And it's meant to be in the great matrix of cause and effect. See, I mean,
Mhm.
I can get there, but my first knee-jerk response is, you know, puff up like a big pigeon and go rescue something, you know,
Mhm.
and that generally is not the way to go.
Mm, yes, because
Very
that's,
good point there.
yeah, because
Okay. Okay. So what about this? So I guess I have a belief that what's brought me to a better day, a better life, I'm just speaking for Jane, um, is that I've been a student enough of myself. I've analyzed and studied myself enough so that I can learn. I mean, everything is a learning experience. So I don't okay, so like let's say that we were we were invisible and we could take that person who's being maligned and we could poof them right out of that scene. You know, would we do it? And I say yes 1,000 times I would. Now I understand that that's like taking their ability to then be a part of the perfect transaction that's taking place. But but my point is this: when you want to rush in with love or loving care, and you're simply holding up and reminding anybody who's there that it's only about love. You're a beautiful person. Don't ever forget that. I mean, to me, those are beautiful words, and I think we can and should say that. Not because I would just find it. I don't know that I could ever evolve to just everything is perfect.
Yeah.
And I know that it is. I do know that. I know that up here. I know it's part of, as you say, the matrix, the dance, the evolution. And it's not up to us to impose ourselves. But I think it's so nice when we support people.
Jane, that brings up something, because I think now I'm very inconsistent with this, but I do think it's possible to see things as perfect. Like we're building a
Yes.
house right up the street, and it's a smaller house, and we're making an Airbnb. We're gonna lease it out and see what kind of income we can produce by doing that. And first time in my entire existence, I've been able to pay cash for it. And so that's
great.
happening right now. And our contractor he's like 27, and he's really,
Wow.
really great. And so he already has 4 kids, married his high school sweetheart. And we were going to meet him up at the house, and he said, I can't come, you guys. I have to drive to Tennessee like right now. And I'm like, okay. He goes. And then he tells us later that his wife's mother and her boyfriend were driving across the Missouri line from Tennessee, and an oncoming car with a 15-year-old girl and her mother was coming this way. That car jumped the rail and smashed into my contractor's wife's mother's car, all 4 dead. All 4 dead. And I looked at that, I thought, my God, either one of them, 5-minute delay at a gas station
Right.
would have prevented this perfect timing of 4 people dying together instantaneously like that.
Right.
Or just leaving the house 5 minutes earlier or later would have prevented it. I look
Right.
at that, I'm like, oh my God, the timing that would have to actually be in place for that to happen, for that moment in time, they were both in that perfect place to collide and die together. How does that happen? And then I started looking at it's the perfect matrix. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, they all had to go together at that point in time for whatever the karmic relationship was. And when
Right.
things like
Right.
that happen, I sit back and go, there has to be perfection here. There has to be.
Absolutely. Right.
So even if
I
it's
agree.
this horrendous thing that happened, it happened in such a way that the timing between 4 people was so perfect that just even a minute delay would have caused one of them to have survived.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah.
so we have to kind of sit back and look at this, going, what is this?
And that's a really good example. That's an excellent example at not at being at the the wrong place at the wrong time, but being at the right place at the right time. You know, karmically speaking, because the ripple effect of what will occur after this is worth so much that we have no idea. No idea.
Well, I know
But
on
it's
his family side, it has impacted at least 20 people.
right, right,
At least 20 people haven't been impacted by it.
right. Yeah. No, thanks for bringing that up because that's really profound.
Well, I do think that everything that is occurring, although my ego doesn't like it, it has to have a certain level of perfection to it. Like the political system in the United States and in the world has to have a certain
Yeah.
perfection behind it. I do not know what it is. I don't like it. I don't want to go through it, but maybe if I go through it in a less judgmental manner, it will be fine.
Right. Yeah.
Lady Linda, it's good to see you, darling. I was just
Hi,
saying,
Lady Linda.
this is the old group.
Woohoo.
I feel at home.
I'm gonna sleep better tonight.
Me too. My family's back.
Yeah.
So, who's next? I think it's Carly, or is it me?
And
Who is
Carmen
it?
just read.
Oh.
I don't know.
It's
Who wants
Linda.
to?
Oh no, it's Jane.
Can't reach his driving.
What's Jane?
I'm
Why am I
saying Jane.
Jane,
Oh
go
my
for
God.
it.
I was looking at Jane and I said, Linda. A lot of reading Linda could do for driving her car.
Oh
Go for it.
geez.
Go for it, Jane.
That's right. Okay, let's see. Where are we?
6.1.5. I have made it perfectly clear.
Okay, okay. I have made it perfectly clear that I am like you and you are like me, but our fundamental equality can be demonstrated only through joint decision. You are free to perceive yourself as persecuted if you choose. When you do choose to react that way, however, you might remember that I was persecuted as the world judges and did not share this evaluation for myself. And because I did not share it, I did not strengthen it. Wow. And therefore offered a different interpretation of attack, and one which I want to share with you. If you will believe it, you will help me teach it. Whew.
Wow.
That's hot stuff.
That is
Mm.
really beautiful. I love this chapter.
Mm.
Is it your time to read or is it mine?
Yours.
Yeah, I think it's yours, Gary.
Okay. I loved that last paragraph. Oh my God.
I know.
Okay, number 6. As I've said before, as you teach, so shall you learn. If you react as if you are persecuted, you are teaching persecution. This is not a lesson a son of God should want to teach if he is to realize his own salvation. Rather, teach your own perfect immunity, which is a truth in you, and realize that it cannot be assailed. You do not try. Oh,
All right, I don't know what happened there.
that's okay.
There we go.
Okay, let's
Where are we?
rather 6, I think it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you do
Uh,
not
oh,
try, or do not try.
oh yeah, do not try to protect it yourself, or you are believing that it is an assailable, or that it is assailable. You are not asked to be crucified, which was part of my own teaching contribution. You are merely asked to follow my example in the face of much less extreme temptations to misperceive, and not to accept them as false justifications for anger. There can be no justification for the unjustifiable. Do not believe there is, and do not teach that there is. Remember always that what you believe, you will teach. Believe with me, and we will become equal as teachers.
Mm.
Ooh, child, that was a good one. I need to
Mm,
make a note.
yes, so do
Mm.
I. I like that idea of perfect immunity.
Mm.
Expand on that, V. What do you mean?
I like it because immunity is, it's, it's a very popular word these days. But for me, it does mean immunity from, I can build up my own immunity. It doesn't need to be something I have to get from elsewhere physically, and also emotionally and mentally. I have my own immunity, and if I just work on my own thought processes and follow the teachings in here, you got perfect immunity.
Mm. And
Yeah.
also, because there's all those, you could say, viruses out there, there is all that anger out there. You need your own immunity if you're going to not believe in persecution.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the next 6 months, we're going to be required to really believe in, we're going to have to really believe that there is not persecution.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
V, I think you're next, darling.
Yes.
Do we need to speak any more about number 6, or do you think we all have it?
Good. Okay, I'm just going to
I
move it up.
I think that I just want to say this. I think that introducing the whole idea so squarely about being persecuted and believing in persecution, but not plugging into that really like sets the stage in such a way that like it's as clear could be. Now, are we capable? Yes, sometimes. But so for me, this put a beautiful, this just set it in stone for me. The whole persecution, or lack of persecution that's taking place. It helps so much. As you can tell, I'm pretty grateful here.
Yeah. Well, this is why I love this chapter so much, because it's so, well, it turns the whole idea that Christ died for our sins on its head, and it's so not what Jesus taught.
Right.
Mm.
And you know what else is funny is that, Linda, that medallion that's hanging, it's almost acting like a medallion in hypnosis. And as we read and watch you, we're being
you think we're
lulled right into a belief system.
Linda thinks that we're reading the Course of Miracles, but we're actually watching the medallion hanging from her mirror.
Apparently, hypnotizing you all.
That's exactly right.
You
How are
did,
you,
you did
gorgeous?
good, Linda. You did good.
We're deep in a trance.
Yep. Take me to your leader. Oh dear.
She's the pussycat that she owns.
Are you home now, Linda?
Yes, I am.
Ah, cool. Finished for the
Yes,
day or
it's
just
good.
pretty much?
No, finished for the day. I only do, well, at the moment I'm doing either 3 or 5 hours. Since I had COVID, I'm just doing 3 hours a day.
Cool.
Yes.
Are you
Right.
are you gardening, Linda? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I'm still gardening.
Lovely.
Anybody wants to buy the business in August, you're more than welcome to, because that's when I'll be selling it.
Well, it is tempting, I must say.
Just go gardening.
Absolutely. 3 or 5 hours a day. I consider myself semi-retired.
Mm. Nice.
Awesome.
Linda, did you just recently get COVID?
Yes, I got it. Went to New Zealand for 3 weeks and I got back, and my first day of work back, 26th of February. No, I wasn't going anywhere, and I slept for 3 days. And since then, I just haven't been able to get my energy completely back, and I'm just breathless, a little bit, clogged up in the sinuses. Just can't shake it.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
But I'm not stopping. Like, I'm still getting out there and doing
right.
it. And all my clients are very supportive of it as well. So, or of me, should I say? So that's great. As long as the client is happy, I'm happy.
And rest when you can.
Yeah, and I do. It's so easy just to lie down on the bed, be watching a movie, and then wake up to the credits. And I never used to do that. I never used to be a snoozer during the day, but since COVID, gosh,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
easy to.
I just got over about a COVID too,
Yes.
Linda.
How are you doing?
I'm better. I'm still not 100%, but I'm
Mm.
better.
Yeah. Yes, it's a nasty thing. Well, any sickness is nasty. And I hadn't been sick for
Yeah.
a very long time, so I'd forgotten what it was really like.
You do forget, don't you?
You do. Yep.
Mhm.
I don't normally get sick, but it was my time, obviously.
Do we have
Traveling
time for
so soon.
one more?
I'm not sure we do. We've only got 5 minutes, and that's a rather large paragraph. If we read it, then that'll be
Okay.
it. Won't be able to kind of dig into
Now
it.
let's wait instead of not being able to dig into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's got their word or their statement? My eyes immediately went to Coralie because I have a feeling she has been feverishly taking notes, trying to conquer the best one out of the group. Go
I'll
for
read
it, Coralie.
I'll read you my first one.
Okay.
You cannot be attacked. Attack has no justification, and you are responsible for what you believe.
Mm,
Oh, that's
great.
one of the best ones out of the night, to tell you the truth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
V?
Well, that was one of mine as well, but I think it's actually something you said, Gary. Attacking back only causes you to lose your peace.
Yep.
Oh, there's Joe. Live the life you love the life you live. Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Did you
Totally
manage to
agree with that. God, sorry.
Jane, you have one?
Oh, yeah, I have to jump ahead and say in number 7, your resurrection is your reawakening.
Wow. Linda, do you by any chance have one?
I do actually, because I was listening while I was driving. Believe with me and we will become equal as teachers. I really
Nice.
like that. I think that's great.
Yeah, isn't it
You
nice?
just
Yeah.
stole mine, Linda. You are now on my poo list.
You have to be the first, Gary, because everyone steals yours.
Well, you can
Just
share.
so
We'll
this-
share it, Gary. We'll
Okay,
share that one.
I've got one. I've got one. What you believe, you will teach.
Yes.
Mm, yeah.
That is
Mm.
true.
The thing I wrote down too.
Joe, can you talk? Are you still driving? Have you? Oh, he's actually given us his hasn't he? He's written it, texted it. Did he? Put it in
Put in
chat.
chat, I think.
Yeah, your turn, V.
Oh, I had mine. It was attacking only causes you to lose your peace. Stop sharing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, gang, it was so good to have the old crew back.
Mhm.
It's really,
Beautiful.
really sweet.
Lovely.
Now, if we were all going to geographically like meet halfway someday, where would
We
that
needed
be
Bora
exactly?
Bora
Would
Bora,
it be in?
probably.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, do we want to start saving our quarters and dollars and cents?
Yeah, sure. Let's check it out.
That would be
I
amazing,
remember
wouldn't it?
once I was,
thing.
I don't know where I was going to Australia for work. I was trillions of years ago when I was a naval architect. And we were flying into Fremantle, actually, which was so weird when I think about it. And my wife and I were going, and because we both work for the same company, and we stopped in Bora Bora. It was like 3 a.m. We get off the plane and go into the little rest area and get something to eat. And there's all these native people with puka shell necklaces and all that kind of stuff. And I remember Diane and I looking at each other and go, let's not get back on the plane. Let's just stay here in Bora Bora and make puka shell necklaces and
Nice.
call it a day.
Yeah.
And so whenever I think of Bora Bora, I think about a career making puka shell necklaces.
Nice. What a way to
Boy,
retire.
Well,
life
now
would-
see, Gary, you've given it away as to where you're going to steal away to when you make your escape.
Oh no, I think I'm going to croak here. I really do. They have a good crematorium just right down the street. I think it'd be perfect. I'll get someone to scatter my ashes somewhere, It'll be fun. No, it'll be good. I'll have
Oh
Blaze
my
send
God.
out an email blast to everybody. Gary croaked. And and hopefully on a Course in Miracles meeting, you'll go, remember when? And then I'll feel remembered.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, we have
Well,
to
hopefully that will,
agree to all continue then. But yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
And I was just looking at
absolutely.
the end of the Kindle page was showing it's 135 hours left to finish the book. So we've got lots of time to spend together yet.
Lots of
And
time.
Great.
none of us can
Yes.
croak until at least it's finished.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
No,
we have
right.
that's
to-
very true. We
Just
have
the
to
way
make a
it is.
commitment. Commitment to
ears
not
are-
die.
The hearing is the last thing to go, I hear.
Is it?
That's true.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we can be listening for a long time.
It's so
No
interesting.
excuses.
I'll share this one little thing. I was working with a client this afternoon. He had this big old breakthrough. And I asked him what his trauma was. And he said, when I was 4 years old, I was standing in the kitchen with my mother. And he said, I burst out hysterically crying. And she looked at me, she said, what are you crying about? And he said, I know that I'm going to die. And there's no way I'm not going to die. And he was hysterically crying. He said he went into this pit of despair that has been with him his whole life. Can you imagine at 5 years old, absolutely this visceral knowing that you're going to die and there's nothing you can do to stop it? I was like, that's awareness from a really evolved soul that's just come into the planet and only been here 5 years.
Because aren't we
Yeah.
supposed
Pretty
to think
interesting.
until we're at least 20?
Yeah, I know. I think about death all the time. Like death is my friend, death is my friend, you know.
Okay, well,
Stuff,
maybe your
it's
friend,
the
but it's a long
suffering
way
that we don't want.
Oh hell, bring
Right.
that to. It'll
And
be good.
not knowing how.
Oh, you know what
Oh, but
book I just,
perfect. It'll all be perfect, Jack. Oh,
I don't
let's
know if
see.
you can see this.
I can't.
After.
After something.
It's just
And
called
who's that by?
After. And it's by Dr. Bruce Grayson. And it's a doctor exploring the near-death experiences, what it reveals, and the life about life and beyond.
Oh
So
boy.
Wow.
this is my friend.
what you're reading.
I
Very
wanna
good.
hear, I do. I have to say I am a little, I've been obsessed for many, many years about life after death and people who have near-death experiences.
Mm,
It's way too fascinating.
yeah.
Oh, it's going to be great. We're going to wake up just like we wake up out of dreams, and we're going to
Yes.
look back and we go, "Oh my God, that seems so real." And we're going to wake up to who we've always been, you know.
Yeah.
And so when you think about when you wake up from a really intense dream, you go, "Oh my God, that dream seems so bloody real." It was a
Yeah.
little scary, but oh, now I'm
Yeah.
awake and it's all good. That's exactly what it's going to be like. We're going to wake up from this and we're going to go, "Oh my God, that seems so real." And then we're going to go, "Oh, here I am." It's gonna be good.
And
Brilliant.
we'll all be here on the Zoom call.
We'll be rejoicing on another. Well, we won't have to be on a Zoom call. We'll just fly
Yeah,
somewhere
it'll be much
together,
easier.
Yeah.
and I'll meet up in the spirit form. That'll be good.
Astral traveling.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, gang. Enjoy your spirithood and your one-ment, and no more attacking.
No more
We'll
No
see
more.
you. No
I'll
more.
hear
Cool.
none of it.
None of it. We will not have it. We'll see you next
Right.
week. See you guys.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.